Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I want to talk about my Toyota 4Runner. I have done plenty of videos talking and covering everything from the top mods, the things that I hate, the things that I love about this 4Runner, talking about all the mods, basically a progression of everything that I've done since I first got this 4Runner 2 years ago. So today, 2 years ago, I officially entered the world of having my first, I guess you want to say, truck that I started modding. This is my first lifted vehicle, so coming from the sports car world or having a Coyote swap Mustang, I wasn't too new to basically having something torn apart and just rebuilding it to the way that I wanted, especially doing a Coyote swap twice in the Mustang. That car is on the channel and has been the OG car of the channel. But 2 years ago, I entered the Overlander world, the 4Runner world, and by far, I think this is the best 4Runner on the market still to this day that you can buy, the 3rd gen 4Runner. And I know a lot of people will agree with me. Some people will also disagree. So I bought this, I think it had around 153, maybe 155,000 miles. And I have driven this thing to Texas multiple times. I have driven it for the job that I do where I travel for work. I've taken it to Detroit or Michigan, perhaps. And then I've taken it to like New Hampshire and stuff. So this vehicle in the last 2 years has now over 220,000, right around maybe 224. It has been around a lot. It has a lot. I've done a lot of maintenance, or have had a lot of maintenance done, while also modding the hell out of this vehicle as much as I wanted. I don't really honestly think there's much left that I want to do to this besides for changing the seats and putting that supercharger in this to make it feel, ride a little more comfortable, the core build trail cats, and perform a little better, add some power to it, because this thing, the thing that it also lacks is speed or the horsepower getting up and going. But once you're with the flow of traffic, it's a real nice, easy ride. So I wanted to just talk about the 4Runner and my experience with it for the past 2 years, and kind of just want to revisit some of the topics. I'm not going to really talk about the modifications done to it. There's plenty of videos on the channel that I've done, talked about from the lighting to the roof rack, the lift kit, the wheels and tires, all the suspension mods, the chase lights, the rear lights, just everything that you can think of. I pretty much have done, except for like aftermarket rear and front bumper, and just maybe like a rear end mod or something like that. I don't really plan on doing any of that until maybe the rear end maybe has to get refreshened up. I might do something a little different, view my options. To this day, I'm still learning more about the 4Runner and what the Toyota platform is. So this is also my first Toyota, and I'm very, very happy with it. So let's go ahead and kind of just talk about the experience. When I first got this vehicle, I was very, very excited because I did want a 4Runner. Honestly, 2 years prior, before even getting this one, I ended up with a Chevy Tahoe instead in 05. Very good, fun vehicle. We still own it. Actually, it's being worked on right now. We're restoring the interior, or having that done, and then maybe I'll start driving that a little bit more to keep the miles off of this. So when I got this thing was bone stock, bare as to the minimum. The radio was factory, everything was factory. And the first thing I did was, of course, change the wheels and tires. It needed new tires. Anyways, those tires were very, very gone, and they were probably like 10-year-old tires. So I'm the 3rd owner of this one, and it's been in very good condition, especially the interior. The only issue that it has, the mark right here, the first owner backed out of the garage and I think tapped it on maybe if they have like this concrete driveways, they have a little retainer wall or something. So that's as far as I know. Honestly, don't really care about it right now. Eventually this thing will get repainted, and then that will be fixed to make this thing look that much better. It's going to be the same color. I don't really see this color that much or that often around here. But I love the color of this. It's kind of like a gray or silver almost. So it almost gets mistaken for silver a lot, but I know it's like it's kind of a gray or something. So the first thing I did was the wheels and tire combo setup. If you remember, if you're an OG to the channel, I had the grayish, like gunmetal gray kind of method race wheels. And I only did that because it flowed better with the contrast, and I did like those wheels a lot. And these were actually the first wheels that I was going to get, but I decided not to get that because I listened to everyone else's opinion. And then once I got these, people were like, oh yeah, we told you these were better. And I was like, no, you didn't. So there we go. So I ended up with the second set of wheels here. I'm going to keep these wheels because I love the way that the bronze, when they're clean because they're dirty now. I love the way that just the contrast makes it pop a little bit. So this is a 2002 Toyota 4Runner Sport Edition. It has the V6, so go ahead and already pop the hood. So if you're in the market for a 4Runner, this is probably the best one to go with. This is a 2002, the last year of the run of the third gen. So I think it started in 96, but some say 95. So I'm just going to go with 96 to 02. You had different variants. You had the limited. A lot of the Sport Edition has the limited options, just not the leather seats and the full AC climate, I believe. And some of the interior was like a wood grain. And then some of these actually came with a 2.3, I believe, the 4-cylinder. Again, not fast at all, but some of them also came with that supercharger, which is going to go on here. So this little V6 makes about, I think, a little over 180-something horsepower and probably like 220 foot-pounds of torque. There is always common issues with these to look out for that I've had to replace. That valve cover right there looks much newer and cleaner than that one. But once the supercharger goes on, it's going to have the gaskets redone anyways because it's unfortunately leaking a little bit on that side. So this side was leaking at first when I got it, had that fixed, but you can see a little residue there, here and there. I've cleaned up a lot of the stuff, replaced the radiator. That's also a big common issue with these. Once the top of the plastic, you'll see the plastic right here. On the radiator, I opted for aluminum one. It'll start to turn like a brown, brittle color because of the transmission cooler. They're intertwined, so that same fluid goes in and out, turns pink, and then it discolors the radiator, and that's kind of when it's time to go ahead and replace it because you don't want to be replacing a transmission either. So that's just one of the common issues with these are the radiator, the valve cover gasket leaks for both sides. But overall, not a fast vehicle, but very, very fun to drive. Probably the best overlander, I would say, out of that 90s to early 2000s craze. The other thing to look out for is what I've already had replaced when I had the whole lift kit done last year was the lower ball joints. Everyone I see all the time post, which one should I go with? OEM. If you can find the OEM manufacturer, I know you can online because I have. That's what I did. I actually had them shipped from Japan. Those are the only ones you want to do because Toyota had to basically like recall that or revise that part because they were just randomly snapping. And I wouldn't stick a Moog or any aftermarket one on there. I know Moog's a pretty common one to go with, I guess from Napa or something. But OEM is the answer and the only answer to stick with when buying one of these. Now, my experience from, this is kind of all over the place, but my experience from driving this before it was lifted, very fun vehicle. I feel like it was too short to the ground, but that's also because it is a 20-year vehicle, and kind of comparing the newer SUVs that you see on the road to something like this, it definitely seems like you're not up as high, and I wanted to be up a little higher, obviously, so that's why we did a 3-inch lift kit. But the vehicle drove pretty smooth. I can't tell you what it felt like, maybe brand new showroom factory, because I don't know all the maintenance records to when like the shocks or struts or whatever, the shocks were replaced before I got the vehicle. So it rode pretty smooth, but once the lift kit was installed, doesn't drive like a Cadillac. You're not going to ride like a Cadillac, but it's much better, responds a lot better, but I also have tons of aftermarket parts under there that make this perform a little better for overlanding and stuff like that. So it kind of lends its hand to that. My only complaint with this vehicle, still my only complaint from when I got it to what I carry today, is this thing is slow and not good on gas. But obviously, I don't have a vehicle that's good on gas. I didn't buy it because I wanted it to be good on gas. You're going to get a ride around maybe 14, 15 combined city to highway. I probably average about 13 with the lift kit and just the weight of the roof rack and then the skid plates underneath the whole kit itself. So that's on me. I've added a little weight to it. Now, once the supercharger is on it, I don't know if it will improve it or not. That I don't know. I always change that cold air filter, and I have the air raid tube. Maybe it flow a little better, but still, it's not going to really change much. And the other complaint that I have is this thing is very, very slow, but it's also not a race car. So if I do want to hop in something that goes fast, I got the Mustang for that. So that's no problem with that. But kind of when you're trying to merge on traffic, it can be a little annoying because just depending on who's behind you and who's in front of you, sometimes they just won't let you over. So, but honestly, very, very fun vehicle. The thing that you will always get with this is the reliability. Even though the common problems, every platform has its common problems, I already went over that. The last one would be rust in the frame. So if you're looking in the market to buy one of these, always check the frame for rust to see if it's maybe been replaced before, because I did have a warranty or a recall on that, to where they actually put new frames under these vehicles, especially the Tacomas of this generation, and I believe the Tundras and Sequoias. It's just one of those things, like the Tahoe I have had the same issue. Just rust was a big problem for the late 90s and early 2000s for those vehicles. So that's something I would just check over. And of course, if you're looking to buy one of these, check everything over, because this vehicle is a very common vehicle that people love to mod and add light bars and stuff to. So you don't know if somebody drilled in, put a light bar on, took it off, so you got holes in the roof. Maybe there's just a clusterfuck of wiring everywhere. So that's why I had mine. Luckily didn't have that, but I also, when the lights and stuff were installed, the wiring was cleaned up and done in a very, very good way, to where you're not even able to notice much of the stuff, because I do have the chase lights and stuff like that here. So I try to keep my stuff clean looking and at least organized. So after owning this thing for 2 years and putting a lot of miles on it, I do want to keep the miles off, but this is, I can say, a reliable vehicle. I see why they go for so much money aftermarket wise, or on Marketplace, or wherever you buy, like Bring a Trailer or something like that. Even one that's in really bad condition, they still go for at least 7 to 8K that I've seen, depending on the area. I see things pop up on Marketplace or something like that. I'll look at them. Some are not even heavily modded, and just the transmissions, slipping or something, they're still asking almost 10K for these. It's just kind of the name of the game for these third gen 4Runners. I think they're the most sought after, besides maybe a first or second gen. Fourth gen's kind of in the middle. Fifth gen, everyone has a fifth gen, and everyone's not a fan of the sixth gen. So the third gen is definitely probably the most sought after 4Runner to be bought secondhand, I'd say. Just the reliability is there, and just the overall good vehicle, being as big as it is, but also small enough to drive this in the city or country roads, kind of where you are. You can basically maneuver out of street parking, or if you're taking this thing overlanding, it performs super well, and you can definitely get over most things. So there you go. It's just a perfect platform to build on, or just to have as a daily driver, even in 2025. So those are my thoughts on it. I know this video was kind of all over the place, but I kind of just really didn't have a structure of how I wanted to talk about that. So as things popped into my head, just saying them, and hopefully I think I went over everything. But yeah, really good looking vehicle. Still holds, I think, its value, like I said, and still looks good to this day. As some vehicles, just when they age, they get ugly. People are like, why? I walk into a dealership and I want to finance a Geo Tracker for 6 years. Some people just did that, but these, I would definitely say I would finance this for 6 years or something, brand new back in 2002. So there you go. There's a lot more to come for this 4Runner in the future, so stay tuned for more content on that. Other than that, guys, here's 2 years for owning this vehicle and just having really fun and being in the Toyota world. I never thought my first vehicle to enter the Toyota world would be this. So there you go. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one.